we need to talk about the fact that a couple things Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said at the latest COP26 Glasgow Climate Change Gabfest are just outright crazy talk. And we need to acknowledge that. So one, he gets up there and he says, we need to talk about bringing in a global carbon tax. Two, he gets up and says he is proposing to introduce a hard cap on oil and gas sector emissions here in Canada. Now, those were things that are major departures from the current conversation. What we talk about in Canada right now is, well, what's the sort of carbon tax needed? What level should it be at? And a lot of people still agree, as I do, that there does not need to be a carbon tax at all in Canada. That's kind of where the conversation is at. That's sort of the normal parameters of discussion. And then Trudeau just steps forward and doesn't do this in Canada, of course, does this abroad with his climate buddies. And he says, we're going to bring in these things that are really major enhancements, to put it mildly, of where the conversation has been at. And a lot of people are just not blinking. It's just considered background noise. Now, I haven't followed COP26 all that much, the sort of details of what everyone else is saying, because I have a life and because it's incredibly tedious to actually watch these things. Joe Biden fell asleep during them. I don't blame him. I would fall asleep watching them as well. I'm not sure where what Justin Trudeau said actually fits in the realm of like other crazy talk that's going on there, but it does seem like he's certainly upped the ante. And that's not cool. I mean, this stuff is a real stretch. Hard cap on oil and gas sector emissions. I mean, these are the sorts of things that you would expect, say, Stephen Guilbeault to have said when he was being taken away by police, when he was being arrested for his Greenpeace stunts. They're dragging him away to the cop car and he's going, hard cap, global carbon tax. And they're like, oh, that's just, some activist being arrested, take it all with a grain of salt. This is what our own Prime Minister is just cavalierly saying. I mean, these are things that if we're going to go down those roads, and we should not, I do not believe so, they should be discussed quite a lot in great detail among us as a community, among Canadians, voters here and citizens, taxpayers here. It isn't something that Trudeau should just show up, get on the plane, go hang out with these other climate people and just be like, oh, hey guys, by the way, I'm doing this in Canada. And they all applaud and then you move on. And you're like, what? No, these are massive things to be doing, things that are going to be pretty disastrous to our economy, to the global economy. And of course, the whole question of whether or not these are actually the things that are needed to bring about good green initiatives, because there's a whole lot of private individuals, industry putting a lot of R&D into this that are actually making the real changes for climate initiatives that have nothing to do with what government's doing. So it's kind of frustrating, troubling, just downright weird that Trudeau is actually saying these extreme things right now over at this climate conference. So I think people should pause and go, what exactly is going on? What's the kind of stuff that they're breaking down there? I've previously said we have to stop taking these climate conferences seriously. The only problem with that, of course, is the attendees, well, they are taking it seriously, and that should make us pretty worried.